She followed the person she liked to Northwest University. So I went to Sun Yat-sen University in the South. Basically, we cut off all contact for good. She invited me to her place during the new year, and I directly refused and left. I don't answer her calls or reply to her messages. When she transferred to work in my city, I immediately changed cities for work. In my past life, I loved her to death. But when I died miserably in the hospital, she was busy marrying someone else. The child I'd raised with so much effort was running around for their wedding, while I lay alone in the hospital ward waiting for death. My only wish before dying was that, if there was a next life, I never wanted to have anything to do with her again. I looked at the college application form for Sun Yat-sen University. After double-checking for errors, I clicked confirm and saw the submission successful. Prompt. My whole body relaxed. In this life, I would completely cut off all ties with Xian from here on out. No one knew I had been reborn. In my past life, I'd been entangled with Xian for a lifetime, only to end up alone and die a miserable death. I no longer wished to have any dealings with her. I wanted to have nothing to do with her for the rest of my life. August 1st was my 18th birthday. On that day, I would publicly announce our engagement was cancelled. You are free. Half a month left. I logged off the computer and was about to head home when I received a message from Xian. I'm out having fun. I'll be home a bit later. If my parents ask, cover for me and say I went with friends to look up application materials. Thanks. I casually replied. Okay. Xian and I grew up together as childhood friends. Our families lived next door, and both our fathers were soldiers stationed far away year-round, rarely home. My mother was a workaholic who was always away on business trips. So my parents used to say I had two mothers, one biological, the other Auntie CC. My mom's close friend. Auntie treated me like her own son. I had liked Xian since I was a child, but when I found out she liked Qinbo, I buried my feelings deep in my heart and resolved to treat her as my lifelong little sister. On the day the college entrance exam ended in my past life, Qinbo took Xian to a bar. A slightly drunk Xian was molested by a few thugs with dyed hair on her way to the restroom. Fortunately, Xian's mother called at that exact moment, urging me to find her. Which led me to discover her being harassed in the bar's bathroom. Without a second thought, I jumped in and started fighting the thugs. Qinbo saw the commotion and rushed over, but upon spotting the large group of thugs, he ultimately fled in fear. Outnumbered, I was beaten down, even sustaining a lower body injury. The doctor said it wouldn't affect my fertility, but Xian's parents felt sorry for me, so they forced Xian to marry me out of guilt and parental pressure. After receiving her college admission letter, Xian finally agreed to get engaged to me. Qinbo couldn't accept the news and made a huge fuss. Xian truly loved him deeply. She found every excuse to comfort him, willing to give up her future, principles, and even her conscience for his sake. But the more I clung on in my past life, the more I lost, the more I lost, the more unwilling I was to let go. I used every means possible to stop them from being together, only turning our two families into enemies. The child I'd raised from a young age even said to me, "Dad, lying in the hospital like this, in so much pain, you might as well just die. The family can save on medical expenses, and Mom can finally be with Uncle Chin. They've had it so hard." I was nothing but a joke from start to finish. I wouldn't be the villain who broke up their marriage this time. And there wouldn't be that ungrateful son either. I'd let them be, and let myself go. Filling out the early admission application ahead of time was my first step away from Xian. In my past life, Xian gave up applying to Jing University to follow Qinbo to Northwest University, and I gave up my original goal of Jing University to follow her. Looking back now, it was laughable. What made it worse was watching Qinbo and Xian flirt right under my nose every day. My heart burned with jealousy, but I didn't dare call them out. Because I was the one unloved. Later, Qinbo was suddenly expelled from school. Xian thought it was me, and after that, she never gave me a kind look again. Even after college graduation, she kept delaying our wedding. It wasn't until she received Qinbo's wedding invitation, disheartened, that she finally married me. Throughout the entire ceremony, Xian was like a walking corpse. Her face devoid of expression. Her eyes hollow, like a puppet on strings. After the wedding, she avoided me constantly, business trips, staying in the company dormitory, claiming overtime when I came to find her. When her parents asked when we'd have a child and sent over piles of tonic medicine, I drank several bowls and went to her dormitory, only for her to point at my nose and curse. Xingyu, can't you live without a woman? You're disgusting. If you need one that badly, go find a prostitute. I couldn't take it anymore. I ran home that night and told both sets of parents I wanted a divorce. No matter what. Somehow, Xian's parents convinced her to come back and apologize. She even made up for the wedding night that never happened in our 3 years of marriage. And that one time, she got pregnant. I thought a child would ground her, make her focus on our family. I never expected that the only one trapped by the child was me. The only person who could tie down Xian was Qinbo. During her pregnancy, she went drinking and clubbing with him, nearly causing a miscarriage. When I confronted Qinbo, Xian defended him recklessly, even kneeling before me to plead on his behalf, taking all the blame. One day, walking home past Xian's house, I got a video from Qinbo, him holding Xian tight on the dance floor, their heads swaying as they sweated through the crowd. Xian's mother happened to be coming home from work. She leaned in to see my phone, and when she saw the video, she trembled with anger. This ungrateful daughter. How dare she abandon her fiancé for another man? When she gets back, I'll make her pay. And that little brat Qinbo. Shameless. Knowing full well she's about to get engaged, he still takes her out to fool around. I'll talk to his parents tomorrow. Qinbo's father was a factory security guard, his mother a cleaner there. Xian's mother was the office director. Though usually gentle, Auntie valued social status. She looked down on Qinbo's background and hoped Xian would marry me. My father and hers were both army majors. My mother owned over a dozen chain stores. My maternal uncle was the city's public security bureau chief, and my uncle was vice president of Yunga University. My connections could broaden Xian's future. Qinbo's family, by contrast, was desperate to latch onto hers. In my past life, even with Auntie on my side, we couldn't drive Qinbo away. Until I was on my deathbed and Auntie had aged. When Qinbo finally married Xian, I gained a filial son out of it too. I wouldn't be that foolish again. I wouldn't stop them, but I also wouldn't interfere with Auntie. The next day, I heard Auntie's furious roar next door, and Xian sobbing. Her legs covered in bloody welts from Auntie's whip. I thought she'd blame me for tattling, but she came to apologize. I'm sorry for making you misunderstand. Qinbo and I only went dancing. Nothing else happened. I know I'm your fiancé. Rest assured, I won't do anything inappropriate. Tears welled in her eyes as she spoke sincerely. If it weren't for the hickey on her neck, I might have believed her. She'd always been a liar, even as a child. Coaxing me into buying her toys, getting me to do her homework, fooling me into fetching her food. But I never thought she was bad. I was even willing to be deceived. After the child was born, she lied about cutting contact with Qinbo. I made her a birthday dinner with the kid, only for her to go to a candlelit dinner with Qinbo instead. Later, when I was dying in the hospital, I asked her to visit. She lied about being too unwell to get out of bed, when she was actually busy planning her wedding to Qinbo. She'd deceived me for a lifetime. I'd never believe a word she said again. As long as I didn't believe her, she couldn't fool me. I waved a hand, smiling. No need to explain. I have no right to interfere in your life. And I didn't tell on you. When Qinbo sent me the video, your mother was right there. She saw it herself. If he hadn't sent it to provoke me and assert dominance, she wouldn't have seen. Xian gave a bitter smile. How could you have no right? Once we get our admission letters, we'll be engaged. After that, I'll be your fiancé, then your wife. I'll cook, do laundry, bear your children, spend my life with you. No, you won't. I won't get engaged to you, and I don't want anything to do with you. Hold on half a month. What? Xian asked, confused. Half a month. Oh. She'd even forgotten my birthday. I pushed her out of my house. It's the day you regain your freedom. I'll grant it to you, with Auntie watching. Xian had no chance to see Chinbo. She spent her days on her phone, pouring out her heart to him. When Auntie caught her video calling him, she flew into a rage and grabbed a whip. Xian ran to my house in fright. Auntie shoved the whip into my hand, telling me to hit her. I couldn't be bothered. Forget it. Xian thought I couldn't bear to hurt her, and was moved. Don't worry. I was just talking to Chinbo about studying. Nothing else. I know my place. Studying, I replied indifferently. What could you possibly study with Chinbo, unless it's biology? In this second life, I wouldn't waste time worrying about who she flirted with. These past few days, I'd been recalling major events and future trends from my past life, planning my own path for college. Today was a class reunion. I hadn't wanted to go, but the homeroom teacher messaged to ask. So I agreed. Xian dressed exceptionally beautifully, even picking a rose from the garden. Auntie smiled. Finally, you've come to your senses. Giving him flowers. I didn't tell her the rose was for Chinbo. I liked sunflowers. I knew the flower wasn't for me. As soon as we met, Chinbo punched me. Xingyu, how vicious can you be? Wasn't it enough to steal Xian from me? You even got Auntie to fire my parents. Chinbo's parents had been fired. Auntie was serious this time. But what did it have to do with me? Chinbo didn't dare confront his future mother-in-law, so he took it out on me. I was about to slap him back when Xian caught my wrist. His parents just lost their jobs. He's holding in a lot of anger. Don't argue with him. If you're upset, hit me instead. I'll take it. I laughed, genuinely angry. His parents lost their jobs, so he hits me. Am I his punching bag? I looked at Xian coldly. Who are you to him? Can you take a beating for him? Xian's face paled. Only then did she remember she was my fiancée. Yet here she was, defending another man. If it weren't for that incident, our parents never would have forced me to marry you, and my mom wouldn't have targeted his family. Chinbo's already hurting. Can't you show him some understanding? I remembered, in the past, whenever Chinbo and I clashed, Xian used the same lines to make me back down. She never hesitated to reopen wounds. Mine and hers. Now she was doing it again. But this time I wouldn't give in. I shook off her hand, cold-faced, afraid I'd make a scene and Chinbo would suffer. Xian begged humbly. Xingyu, he really didn't mean to hit you. He just couldn't stand it. I cut her off. How about I call the police right now? Xian knew that if I called, Chinbo would be arrested. And his parents would be humiliated. She hesitated, then stepped aside. I put all my strength into slapping Chinbo. But at the last second, Xian couldn't bear to see him hurt. She pushed him away and took the slap herself. 5 finger marks bloomed instantly on her cheek. Chinbo exclaimed. Xian, what right does he have to hit you? I'll get revenge for you. Xian stopped him. Eyes on me. Are you satisfied now? Looking at her resentful expression, I felt like the abuser, the unreasonable one. I sighed. Giving up. It'll be over in 10 days. At the party, Xian focused entirely on Chinbo. Only when it ended did the homeroom teacher ask me which school I'd applied to. Yunga, I replied. Xian looked at me in shock. She came over, pressing. First choice. I figured telling her might cheer her up. Since I wouldn't be in her way anymore. Sun Yat-sen University. Why? She asked, anger in her voice. I made up an excuse. I like the South. Xian murmured. That far, the farther, the better. So I won't get in the way of you two whispering sweet nothings. Exactly, I said, brushing past her down the stairs. A hand suddenly pushed me from behind. I tumbled down, blood streaming from a gash on my forehead. I glanced at the surveillance camera in the corner and called the police directly. I was taken away by ambulance. Chinbo was arrested. The irony, since I'd been admitted yesterday, Xian hadn't visited once, not even a phone call. Now she came to the hospital. To plead for Chinbo. Xingyu, can you forgive him? He didn't mean it. I asked if she'd seen the surveillance footage. If she had, she wouldn't be here. She knew full well it was intentional, but still made excuses. He has misunderstandings about you. I'll guide him. I promise he won't hurt you again. I refused coldly. Your promise is useless. You can't control him. and you can't bring yourself to punish him. Her face turned ugly, but she persisted. You really can't. If you do wrong, you deserve punishment. This is what he earned. I won't forgive him. In my past life, I was too soft. That's why he kept humiliating me. This time, he'll learn his lesson. Xian tugged my hand, pleading. What if I trade all the kindness I've shown you over the past 10 years for you letting this go? Would that work? Over the past decade, Xian had been good to me, with my father away and my mother busy. Auntie raised me. And Xian was my closest companion. She spoiled me, loved me, took the blame for me, tutored me, stayed by my side when I was sick. Without her, I wouldn't have gotten into Sun Yat-sen University. That kindness was why I clung to her in my past life, hoping she'd turn back. But childhood sweetness couldn't compete with new love. All I wanted now was never to cross paths with her again. So this debt would be settled. I looked at her blankly. Fine. Remember your words. After this, we owe each other nothing. Hearing my resolve, panic flickered in her eyes. She opened her mouth to speak, but I didn't give her the chance. I shook off her hand and told her to leave. She left silently, then sent a message. Xingyu, I'm sorry. I made you sad again. See, she knew everything, yet still defended Qinbo without hesitation. An apology meant nothing. She was just following her heart. But from now on, we were done. I didn't love her anymore, no matter how heartbreaking. It would only last a week. After Qinbo got out, instead of restraining himself, he taunted me more aggressively. What good did calling the police do? I pushed you on purpose. And I still got out. Xian pulled strings for me. Stop clinging to her. Loser. Even if you pester her, it's useless. She loves me. Once we're in college, I'll sleep with her and put a green hat on you forever. When she's pregnant with my kid, let's see who she chooses. You or me? You clown. Haven't even kissed her lips, have you? Truth is, we've done everything except the final step. Her mouth is soft, her thighs white, her skin tender. She doesn't like you at all. If you hadn't schemed, I'd have been with her long ago. She'll never get engaged to you. Give up. My birthday's coming. I'm picking out my engagement suit. I replied coolly. You think you got out through connections? Let me tell you. She begged me to spare you, and I agreed. My uncle's the PSB chief. My other uncle's a university president. If I wanted to destroy you, do you think Xian could save you? Qinbo didn't believe me. Liar. Bragging's free. If your family's so amazing, why are you mooching meals at Xian's every day? You're a beggar. It was true. I ate most meals at Xian's. My father was stationed away. My mother ran chain stores. My uncles had their own families. No one had time for me. Auntie treated me like a son through high school. But after our falling out in my past life, she'd blamed me entirely, turning our families into enemies. In this life, I couldn't be close to her again. 3 more days. Then we'd be done for good. The day before my birthday, my uncle called Xingyu about that bar fight. We followed up and found new leads. The blonde thug who hit you. It was likely arranged by Xian's mother. We found records of her contacting them beforehand. The payment was substantial. They're keeping quiet. No solid evidence yet, but I'll keep digging. Keep this to yourself. I hung up, stunned. So it was all Auntie's play. She disliked Qinbo, but coveted our family connections. So she staged the attack to force Xian to marry me. No wonder she'd urged me to compete with Qinbo all along. She'd never cared for me. I was just a tool. Just then, Auntie came over with a gift box, smiling. Xingyu, I got you a present. Open it. See if you like it. I obeyed, putting on a happy face. Thank you, Auntie. I love it. I'll wear this for our engagement. Good. Wear it when you marry Xian. I'll give this suit to Qinbo. Let him be your son-in-law in this life. I'm not lucky enough for that honor. You ruined my whole life. Don't even think about it. Auntie's smile froze. Added, Auntie, I have a surprise for you tomorrow too. My coming gapich ceremony, as she called it, was held at the city's fanciest hotel. Only close relatives and friends were invited. Including Auntie and Xian. Auntie chatted brightly with everyone, beaming. Xian greeted my uncles awkwardly. Then a waiter approached. Mr. Xing, a young man named Qinbo says you invited him. Should I let him in? Xian stiffened, shooting me an angry glare. Auntie gave me a satisfied, approving look. My uncle snorted. The Qinbo who pushed you down the stairs. I nodded, smiling, and told the waiter to let him in. Xian tried to stop it, but the waiter was already gone. Qinbo wore a white suit. Handsome, confident. When he saw me surrounded by people, he looked surprised, then inferior. Xian was the first to move, shielding him with her body. She truly loved him. She used to shield me like that. Why are you here? Xian's eyes were full of worry. Xingyu asked me to come. He said he'd propose today. Xian, please don't accept him. I love you. I know I'm not as good as him, but I can't live without you. He was only 18, but the gap between us was clear the moment he saw my birthday setup. If he were Xian, he'd choose me too. He gripped her hand like a lifeline. Auntie's eyes flashed with impatience. Xingyu, why'd you call him over? I feigned realization, then waved a waiter over to bring the gift I'd prepared for Qinbo. I handed it to him. This is the engagement suit Auntie made for her future son-in-law. Try it on. See if it fits. Qinbo stared at the box, shocked. Auntie, you want me to get engaged to Xian? You're giving me an engagement suit. Xian looked at me in panic. She'd finally resigned herself to marrying me, only for me to call off the engagement publicly and force Auntie to accept Qinbo. Now she understood what I'd meant half a month ago. Panic grew in her eyes. Before she could speak, I asked, "Do you like the surprise? I told you I'd set you free. Xian, now you can be with the one you love. Stay together forever." Auntie, finally grasping my game, snatched the suit back. Dream on. You think you deserve this. It's for Xingyu and Xian. Xingyu, didn't Auntie tell you yesterday? This is your engagement suit. I smiled, took the suit back from her, and returned it to Qinbo. Xian likes Qinbo. He should be the one engaged to her. Auntie, don't break up a happy couple. Better to tear down 10 temples than ruin one marriage. I'm sure they'll overcome everything and stay together for life. I also took off the watch Xian had given me and handed it to Qinbo. Try this on too. Xian and Auntie were dumbfounded. Of course they didn't understand. How could the reborn be understood by the ignorant? Xian reached for me, but I dodged. I nudged Qinbo. Go on. Put on the suit and watch. If anything needs altering, ask Auntie and Xian to fix it. Qinbo, stunned by my magnanimity, thanked me profusely. Auntie tried to stop him. Put that down. It's not for you. My uncle stepped in, pulling Auntie aside with a smile. A forced melon isn't sweet. If your daughter loves him so much, why not give them a chance? Auntie lost her composure. The son of a security guard and a cleaner. He's not worthy of my daughter. If you like him so much, make him your son-in-law. My uncle shrugged. No daughter. Sadly. And even if I did, he wouldn't like her. He only likes yours. Auntie turned purple. She grabbed Xian and dragged her to me. Xian, tell him you like him. Not Qinbo. Say it. But how could Xian say that in front of Qinbo? She couldn't bear to hurt him. And she knew she'd hurt me too many times already. What right did she have to claim she loved me? Even if she said it, I wouldn't believe it. Xian looked at me, eyes full of grief, regret, and something I couldn't name. She opened her mouth. Just as Qinbo, now in his suit, bounded over, grinning. Xian. It fits perfectly. Look. Xian nodded, but her gaze stayed fixed on me. Qinbo, dissatisfied with her distracted expression, tugged her hand. You didn't even look. Don't you want to be engaged to me anymore? Xian stayed silent. She hadn't looked at me this intently in years. Before, her eyes always followed Qinbo. Now that I'd given her what she wanted, she seemed reluctant to let go. Hearing the word engagement, Auntie went ballistic. If my uncle hadn't held her back, she'd have torn Qinbo apart. She realized I'd tricked her, so she brought up the bar incident. Xingyu, last time at the bar, you risked your life to save Xian, got badly injured. How can she be ungrateful? If you hadn't saved her, who knows what would have happened? She hasto marry you. That, my uncle. and maternal uncle erupted in fury. I'd nearly been left infertile. How dare she bring that up? Murderous intent flashed in their eyes. My maternal uncle said coldly to Auntie, "You were at the bar that day too, wearing a mask in summer. Afraid of being recognized while dancing. And since you were there when Sien got in trouble, why didn't you protect your own daughter?" Auntie's face paled. Her secret was out. She stayed silent as the room went awkward. My uncle changed the subject. "Xingyu, which school did you apply to? Results out." I put down my chopsticks. Smiling, "Yunga." Got in. Relatives and friends showered me with praise. Chinbo grinned stupidly. "Yunga, heard it's hot year-round, and so far from home. Can a pampered guy like you handle it?" Sien tugged his hand to shut him up, but Chinbo didn't notice. He grabbed her hand and kissed it. In private. It might have been sweet. Here. It was tacky. Sien gasped, blushing, and tried to pull away, but Chinbo held fast. I said, "I've been independent since I was a kid. My parents are away, so I've always taken care of myself. I'm going to study, not vacation. If I can't handle academic hardship, what future do I have?" My uncle nodded approvingly. "Well said. Yunga needs students like you. On behalf of the university, welcome." Chinbo, still clueless, asked, "What gives you the right to welcome him on behalf of Yunga?" Everyone just smiled. Sien ignored him. Auntie's face was dark. Before the meal ended, Sien left with Chinbo, not wanting him to be a laughingstock. Auntie left shortly after. I didn't go home. I booked a hotel room to rest. After 2 days, I went home to pack. That's when I got a text from Sien. "Xingyu, I'm sorry. I know I always take Chinbo's side and overlook you, but there's nothing between us. I never wanted to get engaged to him. I just felt sorry for him. Wanted to help." I believed her. She probably hadn't planned to marry Chinbo. She'd liked him, but marriage was another matter. In my past life, she couldn't forget him mostly because she couldn't have him. The harder something is to get, the more you cling, the easier it is, the less you value it. I replied, "It doesn't matter anymore. One day, I'll meet someone who stands up for me wholly. I want someone who chooses me without hesitation. Not someone half-hearted." On departure day, Sien wanted to see me off. I refused. "Don't let your boyfriend misunderstand." She smiled bitterly. "He's not my boyfriend. I made that clear to him. That's your opinion," I said, since Chinbo had accepted Auntie's terms. I slowed my pace to keep distance between us. Just as she'd ignored me countless times before, now I ignored her in return. She turned back several times, wanting to speak, but said nothing. She knew things could never go back. Out of guilt, she bought me betel nuts and cigarettes at the supermarket. I didn't take them. She frowned. "Don't all guys like these? Chinbo loves them." Her mind was always on him. Not all guys liked those things. Only Chinbo did. She remembered all his preferences, but didn't know I didn't smoke or chew betel nuts. Sien covered her face, sobbing. "Xingyu, I'm sorry," I said indifferently. "Understandable. He's your true love. After all." I turned toward the ticket gate without looking back. I'd bought a sleeper berth. School didn't start for weeks, and I wanted to see the scenery along the way. The guy across from me was handsome. He asked if I was a freshman, which school I was going to. Turns out, he was also headed to Sun Yat-sen University. Cheerful. Within half an hour he was calling me brother, and we added each other on WeChat. We talked about funny stories, dreams, the future. Clicked so well we nearly swore brotherhood. In the afternoon, I checked my phone and saw a message from Sien. "I'm sorry, Xingyu. I've neglected you these past 2 years. How can I make it up to you?" 2 years. Try 35. I didn't need her to make it up to me. I never wanted to see her again. I didn't reply. I blocked and deleted all her contact info. After arriving at school, I changed my phone number. During winter break, I visited my homeroom teacher. He told me Chinbo had been expelled and was repeating senior year. Expelled for stealing. Apparently, in my past life, he'd been expelled for the same thing. But Sien had blamed me. Old habit, I guessed. Blame me for every bad thing that happened to Chinbo. Since I wasn't at their school this time, she didn't suspect me. 2 years later, I went to a bar with friends and saw Chinbo. Intimately wrapped around a short, chubby rich kid. I realized, in my past life, he probably hadn't married the rich second-generation woman to make Xian give up. He'd married her for her money. Their divorce wasn't from domestic violence, but because she'd run out of cash. A gold digger, leaving behind a reputation for love above all. In Xian's heart, making her live with guilt for the rest of her life. By then, with my family's help, Xian had wealth, power, and connections. And a strained relationship with me. Chinbo saw his chance. Under the pretense of domestic abuse, he begged Xian for help. She still had lingering feelings and guilt, so they rekindled their affair. Though Xian maintained boundaries as a married woman, Chinbo grew restless. He sent me flirtatious photos and videos daily to provoke me, making me confront Xian. So the more I fought him, the more she defended him, the more unreasonable I seemed. That's how he drove a wedge between us and took my place. In my past life, both Xian and I were his pawns. I wouldn't let him off easy this time. Seeing them dazed and swaying, I knew they were high. I called the police. They found over 10 grams of drugs on them. Chinbo was sentenced to 6 years. Rumor said he begged Xian for help nonstop. But how could she rescue him from Guangzhou? At our junior year class reunion, I ran into Xian again. I was taller, more handsome. Everyone warmed to me, the women's eyes following me, not because they missed me, but because they'd learned the value of connections and background. I expected Xian to confront me about calling the police, but her first words were, "Long time no see, you're getting more handsome." I replied indifferently, "Thanks." Whether she criticized or praised me, it no longer mattered. Someone mentioned Chinbo's arrest. "Xian, weren't you two at the same school? How'd he drop out? Why'd he get arrested?" Xian said flatly, "Not familiar with him. Don't know. Not familiar." How ridiculous. In my past life, I'd spent 35 years trying to make her cold toward him. And failed. In this life, I'd done nothing but leave, and succeeded. After the reunion, Xian invited me to her place. I refused. No time. Back to school tomorrow. We're strangers now. Remember, you traded our past friendship for my forgiveness of Chinbo. I told you, we owe each other nothing. I turned and walked away. She stared after me, dazed. After graduation, I stayed in Guangzhou. My aunt compiled a folder of blind date candidates. All selected based on your type. Good backgrounds, good character. Pick one. I declined. I want to focus on my career first. With my past life knowledge, I'd started a business in college using my mother's startup funds. I made a fortune in stocks, then invested in new energy and AI. Now I owned 3 companies across 3 cities, worth tens of billions. One day, my secretary buzzed. "President Xing, a Miss Xian is downstairs. Says she's an old friend." I frowned, thinking for a long moment before saying, "Let her up." Xian looked at my downtown office building, bitterness in her eyes. When she entered, I was at my desk, tall, handsome, dignified in a custom suit. She asked cautiously, "Heard you're not married. Would you consider me?" Without looking up. Do you think that's possible? She smiled bitterly. "Knew you'd say that. It's fine. I'll wait until you calm down. I moved to Guangzhou for work, near your company. Want to buy a house. Any recommendations? No. Busy with work. Take care. No need to see me out." She left, then came back the next day with lunch. The front desk told her I'd moved to the Nanjing branch last night. Xian's eyes reddened. She couldn't speak. 6 months later, she found me again, angry. "Fine if you won't forgive me, but my mother was good to you. How dare you have her arrested?" I didn't want to answer, but she insisted. "She never wronged you. Why can't you spare her?" Since she wanted the truth, I'd give it to her. I pulled out a stack of evidence. Surveillance footage, call recordings between Auntie and the thugs. And tossed it on the table. "Wanna know? See for yourself." Xian flipped through it, face paling further with each page. "Impossible. How could she do this?" I laughed mockingly. "Ask her yourself. Think back. How long were you surrounded that night? Half an hour? An hour? If they weren't sent by her, you'd have been ruined 10 times over. And when Chinbo told you I staged it back then, you believed him. So why won't you believe she did it now? Xian wanted to argue, but the evidence was clear. She left. I immediately transferred to another subsidiary. She called from over a dozen numbers. I blocked them all. The day before Auntie's trial, Xian found me again. My parents told me later she'd knelt at their doorstep for 3 days to get my address. I'd just gotten out of the shower when the doorbell rang. Xian stood there haggard, weak, more pitiful than I'd ever seen her. The moment she saw me, she knelt. Xingyu, please let my mom go. She knows she was wrong. I was wrong too. If you drop the case, I'll be your servant. Do anything you want. I said coldly. Sorry. She broke the law. Nothing I can do. She struggled to her feet, sobbing. Please. If you help her this once, I'll be your mistress. Give myself to you. She started to unbutton her shirt. Just then, a tall, beautiful woman in a bathrobe emerged from the bedroom. Honey, who is she? A colleague. Xian's hands froze on her buttons. She thought her body could buy my forgiveness. But the woman was 10 times more beautiful. A hickey stark on her neck. Xian's please died. I looked at her blankly. She fled in panic. I closed the door without expression. I was about to go back to sleep when the woman clung to me like an octopus. Your ex, here to get back together. I smacked her butt. Know your place. Call it girlfriend if you're being nice. Call it buddy if you're being honest. Don't meddle in my personal life. Linny Wei nodded obediently like a kitten. Sorry, big brother. I'll behave. Next time she comes, I'll show the main wife's grace won't embarrass you. I knew Linny loved me. She'd hinted at or proposed marriage multiple times. But what did marriage matter? If two people love each other, a certificate changes nothing. If love fades, a certificate changes nothing. Freedom to follow your heart was best. Extra chapter. Xian's perspective. I thought I had time to win Xingyu back. But every time I looked for him, he was gone. I'd had no contact with any men these years, thinking slow sincerity would prove myself. I never expected my mother to go to prison. 3 years. Turns out, the bar incident was all her doing. She wanted me to marry Xingyu, but I was too deep in Qinbo's sweet lies to see it. My mother went in. Qinbo got out. After release, he came begging to reconcile. A drug addict who'd been kept by rich women. How could I ever want him again? If not for him, Xingyu never would have left. If we'd married, my mother wouldn't be in prison. It's all his fault. Now he dares to ask for reconciliation. I wish he were dead. Qinbo still played the victim, claiming he'd changed. I felt disgusted just looking at him. I drove him out. That night, I dreamed. Xingyu and I were married. Even with a child, I was cold to him, involved with Qinbo. When Xingyu died miserably in the hospital, I was busy marrying Qinbo. I woke up, pillow soaked with tears. The dream felt real. Like it had actually happened. If it wasn't a dream, maybe this was the retribution I deserved. The next day, I invited Qinbo over, told him I'd reconcile. I made a table full of dishes, opened a bottle of red wine. Poisoned everything. We owed for our past lives. We had to atone. Qinbo ate happily. I smiled, drinking glass after glass. No one escapes what they owe. The end.